In ToolKit 6.1, we have added support for persisting the connection settings for each tool. To give you a quick demonstration of this, if I open this first tool, which is named Demo 1 tool, and I go to the connection panel, you'll see that this tool has been configured to connect over TCP/IP on this particular port and host. If I go ahead and connect to this, you'll see that everything connects just fine. All right. Now, if I close this tool and I open a different tool, Demo 2, I have configured this tool to connect over a Kvaser virtual serial or virtual CAN port, and it has these properties set up for it. I can connect over this. You will see that it connects and works just fine. So now, typically, if I went back to the Demo 1 tool, the configuration from the previous tool's connection would still be used in this tool. But now, if I go back into this tool and connect, it's back to the connection settings for this particular tool. If I were to change the connection settings for this tool, okay, and I'll attempt to connect, it's not going to work, but then I'll disconnect that. I'll close this. I'll go into the other tool and look at the connection. You'll see this still has the XCP or the virtual CAN port. I'll close that tool. I'll go back to Demo 1, and you'll see that the COM port is set for this particular tool. I can set it back to this other one and connect. And we still get the connection. Okay. Now, this is nice so that you don't have to change the connection settings every time you're connecting to something. Another nice part that we've added to this is we've made these settings available to tool developers to be able to distribute with their tools, so that if you want a particular port or connection settings to go with your tools, especially if you're on an XCP CAN network and you want specific aliases used, you can go ahead and set up these user options for that tool to go ahead with your tool. So if we go and look at the directory that the Demo 1 and Demo 2 tools were in, you'll see that inside these tools, or inside this directory, you have the tool file, as well as a couple of other files that are named with the tool name. The wbind file, that's a file that's used for determining which devices within the tool are connected to actual devices in the real world. And that file we're not going to do anything with. The wdevop file is developer options. So when you're developing a tool, some of the settings that you set inside design mode will persist from one tool development session to the next when you reopen that tool. There's also, for a tool, a file, the W user options file. And so this is the file that you can go ahead and modify and send out with your tool, distribute it, and have it placed in the same directory as your tool. I'm going to go ahead and open this file. The file is a JSON file, so it is a standard file. It's a text formatted file, but it follows the JSON standards. And we have created a JSON schema for this file that you can check to make sure that you've set the file up correctly based on the schema. There's a lot more information on JSON and JSON schemas and how to validate your files if you look in the ToolKit help. And inside the Toolkit help, there's a help topic called Tool Options. And if you read that, you will get more information on this. I'll just quickly kind of show you that. Say if you wanted to set some settings in here, the first thing you could see is you could see what the last used network was. In this file, it was TCP/IP, and so you could modify this to be the network that you want to be the default when they open their tool. And then there's settings for each one of the networks that I had open at the time. So you'll see here's the Kvaser virtual CAN channels that I was using, and you can see that they were set up with aliases and the response ID and command ID. So you can step into these files, modify these to what you want, resave them, and then distribute them with your tool. You'll see the TCP on here. It had the different device identifiers. So if you want to go ahead and distribute this with your tool, again, check the Toolkit help file under the tool options topic, and it will show you how to use this.